Alright, the next gear review I'm going to do is, I need to be a little closer for this one, is I'm going to do my 2 leak detectors. Not to be confused with a carbon monoxide detector. These actually detect raw fuel, unburnt, if there's any leaks in your lines or connections, or, you know, yeah, just if there's any leaks at any of the joints or connections or crimps, these 2 units will find them for you. So this was the first style I tried. It was the first one I saw. It's a Perfect Prime brand, and it is a GA0080 model. The gases that this one can detect are propane, natural gas, methane, butane. That's about it for this one. It takes 2 AA batteries, and it weighs 80 grams, and it is extremely sensitive. I'll show you the reactiveness, but there's something you should know about this one. Number one, all of these need to be calibrated outside, so when you turn them on, they need to be outside in fresh air where there could possibly be no fuel leaking in the area. If I had fuel leaking in here and I calibrated it, it would only sense anything higher than the current room reading. So you could still have more than 400 parts per million on here and calibrate it to that being the baseline, and then you'd be in big trouble. So you should always do the calibration outside. Now what I don't like about this one, Perfect Prime, is that it takes 200 seconds from when you turn it on to calibrate. 200 seconds is a long time to wait, right? So you'll see it's counting down, and it's going to count down at 200 seconds. I find this one easier to use only because the other one that I'm going to do a gear review on, you have to unscrew a tiny little screw and put the batteries in. I hate leaving batteries in my gear because they all explode, so I have to take the batteries out after every trip, which I take them out of here real easy. The back just slides right off, slides back on, so it's very easy to load this with batteries, start the 200-second timer, and then do your leak detection. You'll notice this head has all these little holes to collect, but then it's got a void there, some more holes, and a void there. Well, when you're setting this up to read and you want to see what the reading is, you're pointing it down. If you're setting this on top of a connection, well, the blank spot with no holes is on top of the connection. So a bit of a flaw, I would say, in that design, but it's still, you can turn it and then turn it back real quickly if you're in a tight area and see what it's reading. This has detected leaks for me before. I know it works. However, this was one of the cheaper ones I found online at the time, and now my new one is actually 10 bucks cheaper. This is $60 or $57 on Amazon, and the other one is $43. And it's, I think, a better build, more configurable. You can have the sound on or off. It has an alarm on it and everything. But they're both extremely responsive. So this is a good option. It is more expensive than what's out now, but it seemed to work for me without a problem. I still have 70 seconds left to go. So you understand why this is kind of annoying. I want to turn something on, and within 10-15 seconds, start checking my connections, pack it away, be done with it, know that I'm leak free. So I'll come back to you in 57 seconds. So I accidentally hit the power button on here and had to start all over again, but we're back down to 20 seconds. So you notice that red ring on the end? That's going to turn colors. It's going to go from red to yellow to green. Well, it's actually going to go green, yellow, red. Right now, because it's calibrating, it stays red. But 8 seconds. So we're going to watch for it here to turn. There we go. Alright, now it's ready. So just with the barbecue lighter, you see it reading? Yeah. So it's already climbing up. Just a little touch of the barbecue lighter, the butane coming out of here, and it immediately shot up. We'll do it again. Again, I have to kind of tilt it. Lighter away. You'll watch it count up. Counts how many parts per million. So it is sensitive, it's reactive, it works really well, but it is a max range of 9,999. Now when you're camping, all you need is a max of 50 to tell you you have a problem, right? And 50 is going to read in an instant. 50 is almost nothing when it comes to parts per million for propane or butane or anything like that. So as long as your tester has a range of 50 or higher, you're laughing. 50 is no amount of parts per million is good, but 50 is very, very low, to the point that if your tester can read 50, you're gonna be able to detect any leak. This is reading 9,999 or more. So obviously, if you have a leak out of a lighter like this, and your tester can read that, your tester is adequate for what you're doing. So this works. It's fine. I'm going to turn it off. There we go. Flashy, flashy, flashy. Now it's off. 2 AA batteries, 80 grams, $58, 57 something and change on Amazon. So because they're both leak detectors, I'm just going to do both the gear reviews on one here. Now this one is $43 and change on Amazon. Again, I'll put it up there. As I said before though, this one, you have to take that little screw off at the bottom to put your batteries in. So it does come in this bag, and what I did is I had an extra little screwdriver in my kit at home, so I just stick it in there with it. Little star screwdriver. And the batteries, the tester, and the screwdriver all fit in the bag it came in, so it works good. So it takes 3 AAA batteries, this one, and it's a top test, PT330. So that's the model. This one ranges from 50 to 10,000 parts per million. This one can detect LPG, LNG, methane, ethane, propane, butane, natural gas, coal gas, gas fuel. So it does a wider range of leaks. All I need is propane and butane, but this does it all. It has a 2.26 inch screen on it, and it is extremely quick to get calibrated. Now this is $43 and change. Normally it's on sale right now, Black Friday deal right now for $39. So again, this one is got more sensors, more edges, more screens, and a completely open knob at the end, which can read the gas. It also is got an actual display and sound. You can turn the sound off if you want, but you don't have to. So it's going to do the calibration. You can see at the bottom there's also a temperature gauge. What is the temperature? It says it's 18 degrees in my tent right now. 18.3, and it tells you the humidity as well. So 18.4 plus humidity. It's still doing its thinking. It only takes, I think it was 30 seconds to calibrate. There we go. Now it's ready. You can also see on the screen on the left hand side it says SENS-H, that's sensitivity high. So you can adjust the sensitivity. You can adjust from Celsius to Fahrenheit. So it's a good temperature gauge too if you want to know how cold it is somewhere. It's kind of like 2 pieces of gear in one. So we're going to do the same barbecue lighter test. Here we go. Just a quick little, and you can see the alarm goes off. You can see that you can do it down here too, anywhere. It can be upside down, doesn't matter, but it's gonna start freaking out. There you go. So I like this one. It seems more rugged, more durable. It's I don't want to say it's smaller because it's just more of a brick than it is a tube. The battery, having to pull them in and out, is kind of annoying, but I do like the alarm on this one. I do like that you can adjust settings on this, and it's not just, I don't know, is it working or is it not? The other one has no display other than parts per million. It'll tell you it's got a low battery, so will this one. But this one gives you more information, like temperature, humidity. It'll give you the range of parts per million. You can change it from Celsius to Fahrenheit. So this one definitely has more features to it. Yeah, so that APO button is automatic power off. So what you can do is you can actually hold down the APO button, and you'll get a little timer looking thing at the top. Yep, there it is. And what you can do now is you can actually set this on your propane tank or near where you think you might have a leak or somewhere you really want to check. And for 10 minutes it's going to read, and it'll trigger you if it senses something, and if not, it'll shut itself off. So if you're busy doing other things and you want to set this on top of your propane tank, then for the next 10 minutes it's going to tell you if there's any gas leaking in that area. Now if you have a slow leak, that's a huge feature, because you don't have to sit there and hold it for 10 minutes to find that 50 parts per million leak, right? You can just leave it there and then come back to it. And it'll tell you if you've got a leak or not. So I turned the sound off now. So now if it triggers, it's just going to start freaking out on you. And all the information's still on the screen with your parts per million, but it's not going to yell at you. So, for example, when we go camping, maybe it's late at night and I'm just doing a double check. I just want to make sure we have no leaking before I go to bed. The wife might already be sleeping, so I don't want this thing to freak out if there is a leak. I just want to be able to know if there's one silently. So my vote is definitely for the Top Tez PT330. I like that I can put the cap on the top, and I know the sensors are not going to get clogged with debris or dust or whatever. It's a nice sealed unit. Again, my only complaint with this one is that I have to do a screw to get the batteries in and out. I can live with that. And like I said, everything, including the 3 AAA batteries, the actual meter, and the little screwdriver all fit inside the bag. So it's all together. I don't have to take multiple things, and it does the job really well. So there you go. Again, I'll put up the information on the screen here for the 2 leak detectors that I have had personal use with. And if you're looking for one, I recommend the Top Tez, but the other one works just fine too. It's a little more expensive. $10 cheaper, and you get a lot more versatility out of this, including a temperature gauge and humidity, Celsius to Fahrenheit, and it reads more gas types, and you can turn the sound on or off, and you can have an automatic shut off after 10 minutes. So it's packed full of features, more than you probably ever need. But yeah, it's worth every penny of $43 full retail. On sale right now, $39, and it does the job very well. I will say, I had when I go winter camping at -30 or colder, I have a hard time getting my propane connections to secure. Everything has contracted. It's harder to stick the stove end of the hose into the propane tank, and I, with all my might, have to freaking reef on that little plastic dial to try and get it to punch that propane tank pin so that propane can flow. And there was one time I almost had to go home because I couldn't get it. Luckily, I ended up trying one more time and I got it, and then I could get the heat on. Well, about an hour after the heat was on, I decided to go up to the propane tank and check the connection, and it was so loose. I must have been able to turn it 2, 2.5, 3 times to go into the propane tank further. It's because it was that cold that I could not get it all the way down the threads that it should have been down. So something like this is not just for startup, it's for maintenance as well. It's for checking things. Whenever I switch a tank out, I'm doing this again, and You know, I've always got my eye on my carbon monoxide detector as well. I'll go up to it anytime it crosses my mind. I'll go up and I'll press the button, see if it's read anything. That's just all part of, you know, camping with gas in your tent. So that's a huge safety thing, and having something like this wouldn't even to me matter how much it costs. It's necessary for the safety, so it gets done. So I hope you learned something. I hope if you were looking for one of these, you got a couple options to choose from. There's certainly more than this out there, but these are the two that I found that work really well and are pretty affordable. So thanks for watching.